right, so my talk today is called Improving Your Product, No Coding Necessary. It's about how the customer success team can influence product. I've been on the customer success team for about a year and a half. I'm our senior customer success engineer. And I sit in between our product team and our customers. And at Intercom, we're a product-driven company. We have an incredibly high standard for product, but sometimes our product team ships something that's less than perfect. That makes our customers sad, which makes me sad, which makes our product team sad. And as we grow the company, there's a lot more of a product team shipping more things to more customers, and that's the potential for a lot of sad people. So my talk today is how to avoid ending up with all these people that are upset. At Intercom, the customer success team is on pretty level footing with the product team, and our feedback that we can give them from our conversations we're having with our customers is how we avoid making everybody upset. So this is me at age like 3 or 4. As I said, I joined Intercom a long time ago. Since I joined in January of 2014, the number of conversations we have each month has grown a crazy amount. We now deal with about 9,000 conversations every month. And similarly, the amount of people we've added to the customer success team has grown. We now have 10 people on the team. Point being, we're a pretty big team dealing with an incredible amount of conversations. So if we do some simple math, if you have 1 million active users and 0.1% of them contact you each day, that's 20 people on your success team you need just to keep up. And if one person falls behind or is out or takes longer with a customer, you're now behind on incoming conversations. So this shit doesn't scale. Hiring is not a support strategy. You can't just throw money at people at the problem. So there's a lot of temptations that are caused by trying to grow a support team. The first one is what we call triage out, which means you can treat your customers, your VIP customers, like first class. And what first class looks like in a support setting is giving them a really simple and easy way to talk to you. And so you can treat your VIP customers like this and treat economy to the rest of your customers. It's serving them something gross, maybe a corn in their breakfast or something like that. And the equivalent of this for support is a really complex tool to fill out to even get to contact you. And when they do take the time to fill that out, instead of talking to them, you sort of send them to docs. And so that's what we call triage out. It's really only supporting your VIP customers. The next temptation is what we call busy out, which means you can basically ignore all your customers or give them such poor support that they stop trying to contact you. So now you don't have an issue scaling your support team, but you probably have a lot of other product problems. And another temptation is what we call burnout, which is basically just working your customer success team to the bone. The biggest problem with this is a high turnover. Imagine if you worked in a kitchen and every few months you had an entirely new kitchen staff, but you served the same menu. You'd lose all the long-term expertise that that kitchen staff built up, all the tricks that they maybe have come up with, and that's what we call organizational amnesia. A lot of times you see this in support teams where they're working really hard, but nobody can help you, and that's because no one's been around long enough to understand what's really going on. So that's the biggest problem with burnout and high turnover. Another temptation you can have with scaling your support team is you can just outsource it. And the extreme of this is hiring a support team on the other side of the world. But having a customer success team in your company and then just marginalizing them is a different type of outsourcing. A gang of college grads in Utah is still outsourcing your customer success team. And what outsourcing solves is that customers get replies. We're not saying they're good replies or on-brand replies or friendly replies, but they're getting a reply. And what gets measured gets done. So if all you care about is median first response time, then there's a great case for outsourcing. But if your product team never interacts with your customer success team and never gets feedback, they're numb to the frustration that their customers are experiencing from things that they're shipping. And if you fall victim to any of those temptations, you have all these conversations from all these different customers, like, look what you're throwing away. And you might think, oh, we have a research team. They talk to our customers, that's fine. But there's a really big difference between what your research team is getting and what your customers' incoming conversations can tell you. It's a difference between sending a survey about a soup you ate 4 days ago, and someone in the restaurant tapping you on the shoulder and telling you the soup's too salty. You're going to get very different feedback. And that's the difference between what we call survey feedback and unsolicited feedback. So what your research team does is really important, but that's what you're getting is that survey feedback that is context-free, it's a closed conversation, it's scoped, and you're asking about things that you know you want to ask about. Whereas if you interpret your customers' incoming conversations, it's workflow-driven, it's an open conversation, there's open scope, and you can hit those blind spots that you didn't even know that you wanted to ask about. And when you're doing customer support, you can really recycle that and get two uses out of the same thing. You can solve your customer's problem, but you can also solve a product problem. And most customer support only looks at solving the customer problem, and that's when you end up with things like docs and autoresponders. So anytime you contact Sidecar with a complaint or a praise or a question, you get an autoresponder thanking you, giving you a ticket number. And for those of you who don't know, Sidecar is the third most popular on-demand ride service, right behind Uber and Lyft. But if you don't solve the product problem, it's actually a second-order problem, because if your product team doesn't know that they're shipping things your customers don't like, it increases the rate that they ship things that your customers don't like, and it makes your customers even more upset. And more than that, if you don't solve that problem, it's actually a third-order problem, because if your product team is shipping more things that aren't great, it's increasing the rate that your product team is getting bad. And now that's a lot of poop and a lot of tears, and nobody wants that. So now that we've agreed that interpreting your customer conversations is really important, how do you go about doing that? How do you give all this information to your product team so they can actually do something about it? So at Intercom, we actually tag every single conversation that comes into us with a team category, which is the area of product, and the category of the conversation, which is the type of conversation that we're having, which makes it really easy to label each conversation and then organize it so you can focus in on each different type of category. So the first one I want to talk about is something that we call unaware, which is what we tag any conversation that comes in where customers ask us something about Intercom functionality that they are hoping to do that they didn't know that Intercom could actually do. So we basically tell them, yes, you can do that, and they were unaware that they could, so they had to contact us. So when we get a question in, like, how do I add a new manual message, we tag it with the team that it belongs to. So in this case, that would be our team engage, and this unaware tag. So every week, our PMs can go into Intercom and look at all the conversations that are tagged unaware that belong to their team. Another category we use is bug report. So customers will often send us something that looks like this. It's obviously a bug. We can tag it with the team it belongs to with bug report and use those conversations to create issues in GitHub so our developers can fix those bugs. Another category that's very common is our feature requests. A lot of customers write in with feature requests. So when they write in their request, it's tagged by customer success. The PM reads it, and then we create every quarter what's called our customer voice report, which is the top 10 feature requests from our customers that quarter. And it's important to keep in mind that doesn't mean we work on all 10 of these features. It's important to keep severity in an ordered list. Ken Norton, a partner at Google Ventures, highlights this point well. He says that you can order the planets by habitability, but if you kept severity in that list, you would see that one of them is actually way more habitable than the others. So when you're working on your features, when on your top 10 feature list, you might only want to do the top 1 or 2. So there's a lot of product-driven companies out there, and quality is the essence of success, and what's driving that quality is actually your customers. So if you're serious about your product, you want to be serious about your customers, and if you're serious about your customers, you have to be serious about your customer-facing team, because they can really make your product better. And not only can they make your product better, they can make your product team better, because they're the ones enabling them to close that feedback loop. Because even with the best product team in the world, they're going to ship some things that your customers might not like. But if you have that feedback coming in from your customer success team, everyone can still end up happy. So I'm not saying customer success is a bunch of angels, but everyone was smiling at the end of my presentation. So thanks, that's it.